Have you ever had something that really bothered you in your garden, but it took you years to address it? And then you finally do, and you wonder, what took me so long? Well, allow me to show you one of those moments in my garden. We have finally changed out our driveway lights. So the lights we had here before, I didn't like those lights from the moment we bought this house. They bothered me from the moment I pulled into this driveway when we were looking at it, and they've bothered me for 22 years since then, and finally we did something about it and replaced them with these. So these are actually path lights, and they point down, which I like quite a bit, and the purpose is just to illuminate where the edge of the driveway is, so that if someone is driving out of our house in the evening, they don't drive through the garden. And you would think that would be self-explanatory, but I'll tell you, it's not necessarily. So we've put these in. Actually, Mr. Much More Patient took over this whole project, and I couldn't even actually tell you how it was all done because I had no part in it. I just know that I told him I wanted 5 of them because they're small enough that we needed more than the 3 of the ones we had. Here's the view this direction. And that I wanted these lights. And these lights are the reason why I built the garden extension down here, because I wanted all these lights to be incorporated into a garden rather than just sitting out randomly in a lawn and something that had to be mowed around. And they're in, and I love them. So an important point to note is that we do not have our driveway plowed. So we don't have to worry about a plow coming and taking these out. And they did come with pretty short stakes, so he actually drove a stake very deep into the ground to make sure that these aren't shifting, because that would drive me nuts. So those are the new lights. I love them, and I do wish we would have done this at least a decade ago, if not longer, but I will enjoy them now. So I do have to fill in the area around where some of these lights went in, because there was a fair amount of digging involved in that, and some plants got taken out. So I thought we could do today a little bit of planting over here, because there's some other spots we're going to put some plants in over here. And as per usual, some of them are a little interesting. So he did have to dig some plants out of the ground to access wiring and install them and other sorts of light related things. So we need to fill up some soil on those, put those plants back in or replant them somewhere else. And then there's a few other plants that I wanted to add to this garden. I thought you might be interested in seeing what that is. So I have been giving some instruction here, which is that I am not allowed to plant anything that's a straight line back to, I think, about here, because this, where my foot is where the other light was, and so he just tapped the wiring off of that, so there is wiring there. You can see too that the soil is a little bit low here, so I need to fill in a little bit of that. This is Hacklencloa aureola, so he did take one out, so we're gonna bring it back here and kind of fill in this area a little bit with that. So because I had a bag of this here, I'm gonna actually use this because it's easier than shoveling the bulk stuff. This is the Organic Mechanic Planting Compost Blend. This is the plant that he dug out. I'm gonna divide it into 2. Oh, here we go again. Oh my gosh. Why is it being so... Okay. Sometimes, if I can't get through them on the top, I will go from the side. Oh, this poor plant. What is the deal? What is your problem? plants. Goodness gracious. There, cripes. Goodness gracious. That guy did not want to participate in the division. And now, of course, I've got soil all over the driveway. Right. Why? That was way more of a workout than it was supposed to be. Okay, those will cover up the kind of bare spots there, I think. Okay, so down at this one, so this garden actually, right here, this is where the garden started to curve. And I said, you know, actually, let's remove that grass, which didn't get removed. You just kind of dug it up. I'll have to deal with doing that properly. And just change the curve so that this light is also incorporated in the garden. So I will start, I'm going to have to, you know, adjust this bend a little bit here. So that this makes a little bit more sense, but I did want this to be, the whole point of this whole thing was to have all these lights within the garden. Now, one of the things he pulled up was one of the cat's pajama nepida that was here, so I'm going to dig a hole right there, and then we're actually going to add something to this spot too. This guy actually fell into a couple of pieces, so he just got divided. I think I'll tuck that other one right here. Okay, now we have to go get what's coming next. So earlier this spring, I bought a box of bare root cat's meow nepida. And one of the ways I like to sort of maximize the use of my raised beds is to use them to grow out bare root plants early in spring, which is what I did here. Ignore the thistle in the middle of the bed there, which I guess we'll be pulling out. This will become the tomato bed. Fortunately, we're in no rush to get the tomatoes in the ground here. But you can see, I've actually pulled some of them out already, but you can see they've rooted in nicely, and you know, they're basically the same size plant you'd be buying in like a gallon-sized container in the nursery. So I'm going to get some of the cat's meow. I'm going to mix that with the cat's pajama. It will bloom, I believe, slightly later than the cat's pajamas, and it will be slightly bigger than that. So I think it'll actually be a really good combination. So this grass right here is Millennia Transparent, which is such a great grass. It'll get to be a big like basil clump of foliage, and then the flowers will come up 6 feet, but they're see-through, which is why it's well named. But I used to have a second one right here, which was way too much, and so I pulled this one out, and I actually put this into the lakeside garden that I designed last year for those people. So this is a bit of a hole here, and actually there's a lot of holes because this is a daffodil and muscari here. So there's a lot of room actually for planting in this area, and I don't think I'm going to fill it all up with nepida, but in here I am going to work some of these through. And I will keep in mind that that is going to get big, so I don't need to go too close to that. You know, when I think about the plants in my garden that I consider to be stalwarts, the ones that I go back to time and time and time again, that I probably can't imagine even gardening without, because they're just no-brainers. They're no fuss, no-brainers for me. Nepida is right at the top of that list. Let's put one here. Through here, this is Stacky's. Is it officinalis? Bettany. This is either Humolo or Summer Crush. I don't really know which, I can't ever remember from year to year which one that is. And I actually do have some more of this. Another plant that I consider to be one of my like garden go-tos that you can stick in a wide variety of places. It just does its job so well. And I like this year I bought 6 of those when I was putting in an order somewhere, and because I just know there will be a place where I'm going to need some of those, and maybe I will grab a couple of those and put those in over here too. This right here is Cornus Moss, Cornelian Cherry Dogwood, which has just been an absolute gem of a tree. We planted it in 2020, and it was quite big at the time, but boy, has it really taken off over the past few years and gotten nice and wide, which is like a lot of dogwood trees. They sometimes go up before they go wide. This guy's starting to go wide, and I love it so much. Beautiful flowers in very early spring, yellow flowers. You can still see them, like the last bits of them on there. It might get droops this year, which are the, did I step on it? Oh yeah, here's one I just stepped on, way to go. Droops are what they call the berries on these Cornelian Cherry Dogwoods. And since I have another one of them over in the driveway garden, I'm hoping that they cross-pollinated and I might actually get some droops on there because they're quite pretty. I think you can, some of you have told me I think you can eat them, make jam out of them or something. Okay, I think what's going to happen is I'm also going to have to come in here and fill in with some annuals. We might even do that today too. We'll see. Now this is where I planted the Mugo Pine Winter Sun. But we definitely need, I mean, this is just screaming for nepida in front of it here. So let's, I actually don't know what was in this area. I feel like we maybe are missing plants here. I don't know what you're munching on there, man. Hey, stop. Okay, I did go get a couple of those stackies. Now these are Humolo for sure. Like I said, I'm not sure which ones are growing here. I think I kind of mixed up Summer, I think I had Summer Romance and Humolo when I planted up this area. Ooh, ooh, look at those roots. These are well rooted, holy smokes. These I can still get through, but the other day I planted something that was just like a mat of roots at the bottom. And so I just sliced the whole bottom of the pot off. Okay, now I want to address this area here. Of course, it looks like nothing right now because you can't tell what's here and what's not. But this is Pygnanthemum muticum, this whole swath here, Pygnanthemum muticum. Love it. Want it in the garden, love it. I am going to probably move it away from the edge right by that light just because it's going to get taller than the light. So I'll pull it back from the edge and put something else there. And I don't mind this mingling in here at all. Right here, we've got a thalictrum that maybe is Ellen, E-L-I-N, right there, and I believe right there too. I know that's a thalictrum. I think it's the same one. This is a sanguisorba that I transplanted over here. And then last year, Michelle from Garden TLC, when she came down to make a video of the garden, she lives south of me, she brought with her 3 baby joes. Here's one right here. And baby joes are like a truly dwarf version of Joe Pyeweed. Some of the other ones, even little Joe is huge, but there's one there, and here's the third one right here. I think that plant is really well suited for this spot because water drains down here, obviously, from the driveway. In fact, I have to move, if you see the large branch over there. I pick up driftwood, and I put driftwood all the way along these beds on the driveway, so if we get a big rain, it doesn't do a big washout, because I used to have that happen. But we got to fill this in, so let's just talk about this. This is Heuchera villosa, maybe, well, here, why don't we just read the tag? Carnival cinnamon stick. But like most heucheras, except for the one, which is Autumn Bride, in this garden, they just get smaller and smaller and smaller. And here they are again. So I think I will probably transplant these out of here, which is probably, maybe I'll even just transplant them like right to that spot right there, clump them over there underneath this dogwood that's here, which is Big Apple dogwood, which is just barely starting to leaf out and not all over. I'm a little worried about it, but every scratch test shows that it's got green, but it seems very late to me. I don't know, we'll see. It should have been fine. Aren't they all? Anyway, we're gonna fill up this area with a few things that I think are gonna complement that Pygnanthemum muticum really well. And so we're gonna come in here along the back side of this and kind of work our way around what's here. And what I have for that are this white echinacea. This is Powwow White. Caradonna sage, which is just like a classic, good performing sage. And white liatris. I don't see this one very often, and so I thought that would be, so it's kind of a white and blue with the pink of the baby Joe thing happening here, which I think will be kind of pretty. We're gonna put one of those right here. Now, one of the things I also might do in this garden is I think I might need to thin out this Geranium macrorhizum that's in the front here, just because it's kind of blocking everything. And in fact, probably what I should do is just take some of this and move it there. But this is a bit of a, I like it at the front because it's just bulletproof. But I feel like maybe we need to create some gaps in that a little bit. Let's put another, baby Joe's there. Let's put this guy here, and I think what we'll do is we'll thin that out a little bit up there. Okay, now let's figure out the liatris. So this one gets hardy down to, it's hardy down to zone 3, by the way. 36 to 48 inches tall, love flowering height. Height of the actual plant, 24 to 36, spread 18 to 24. I love it. That sounds like a nice, sizable plant, which is, you know, kind of what this, you know, one of the things that I think I did with this garden when I originally designed it was I did not add enough height to it. So I find myself sort of reaching for or looking for, I mean, I don't need it hugely tall, but I think I could have gone a lot taller than I did with stuff. Let's stick one of these guys right here with the Pygnanthemum as well. on the edge. And I might actually dot a few more in there. You know what? There's a hole right here. Let's do it here. Let's draw this up into here and keep that carrying on that way. You know, I actually invested in the 9-inch or 10-inch auger this year, which I used to plant some of those shrubs. The one from Garden Answer that's a little bit lighter, and I love it. But I gotta tell you, even though that's a lot lighter than the original version of that, I still find it just, I don't know, I just feel like it's too much to lug around. I often just end up grabbing my spade and going for it. This whole part of the garden did get a whole layer of compost this year, which I think it's going to be very happy for. So this path that weaves through this garden on the way over to the vegetable garden is an oddity to me, because it's the only path I've ever had that gets wider and not narrower, and I keep planting things along the edge trying to bring it in, and it's not working. So now we are going to plant some ground covers here, and this is one of the new ajugas that's on the market, relatively new. This is the Feathered Friends Tropical Toucan. Should spread like an ajuga. Ajugas are nice plants here. Some places they are not. This path needs a little bit of maintenance. I gotta re-wood chip it. I think we have to weed a little bit and re-wood chip it. But we've got ladies mantle growing along here. I also planted quite a bit of Serostigma, hardy plumbago, and I don't see any of it coming back. So maybe it will, and it's just late, but I'm not seeing that yet. This area really seems to have had a hard winter. See a Black Hawk's grass right here that's starting to come back. But beyond that, there's a lot of dead. I think I might have lost, these two were Caryopteris. No sign of them coming back. Another Caryopteris I have over there showing no signs of growth, which is quite sad. So we got plenty of room to fill in with things here. And I think perhaps, like right around here, might be an interesting spot for one of these prairie ducks. Okay, well that was some decent progress. I feel really good about it. I'm quite excited about the other side over there where we added in the other things, the echinacea, etc. I think that's gonna be nice over there. And I was just thinking about some annuals I can pop in there to accompany that as well. So I think that'll be a pretty area, and I'll feel good about that. Plus, I get to enjoy looking at it with those lights. Thanks so much. Have a great day in your garden. We will see you soon. Bye, everybody.